Hey there, this is a weekly compilation video that combines a number of my shorter videos into one longer video. If there's one of the videos you're particularly interested in, there should be chapters on this video and in the pinned comment. Otherwise, grab a snack and have fun. Let's get this started. So, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a single gamer who likes Ubisoft these days. Sure, some of their older games were great, but now they've fallen into corporate greed like most of the AAA developers. Now, Ubisoft is making a new Star Wars video game called Star Wars Outlaws, and it's taking a lot of heat, but not for what it really should be. People are mad because, like with all games made by American studios captured by the San Francisco ideology, they made the main character a woman, and they seem to have, well, made her less traditionally attractive. I just talked about the opposite of that happening in regards to Stellar Blade yesterday, but I think that in this case, though I can understand why people are upset, I think it's also stopping people from seeing the real issue with this game, and it's got nothing to do with the character design. Do you remember a few months back when there was this big controversy when the Ubisoft CEO said that gamers should get used to not owning their games? He was pretty much saying that Ubisoft believes that game streaming and subscriptions is the future, and that you'll own nothing and be happy. Basically, they want to take the streaming service model, where you pay a monthly fee and get to play whatever games are in the library that the service offers, like Xbox Games Pass, but owned by Ubisoft. Basically, why should they sell you a game when they can get you to pay for a monthly subscription forever, and you get to play all their games? It's a win-win, right? Well, at least until you realize you're paying more in subscription than you ever would have on the games individually, especially if you only play the same few games over and over again. Well, it seems to me that Ubisoft is using the Star Wars Outlaws launch to make a major pitch into that direction, and no one is really noticing it at all. How? Well, let's just take a look at the game's pricing options because they're ridiculous. Firstly, the base version of the game, the standard edition that comes with just the base game, and if you pre-order, the pre-order bonus, which by the way is a cosmetic reward, despite the fact that I'm fairly certain this is a single player game, so what's the point of cosmetics anyway? This version costs $69.99, that's right, $70. At some point in the last year, all of the big AAA studios decided they were going to price their games at $70, and we were just going to have to deal with it. But it just seems like way too much for a game, in my opinion. Maybe if it was like the best game ever made, but certainly not for a Ubisoft game that I can pick up for half off in a sale in a few months. And that's the cheapest option. The middle-tiered Gold Edition comes with the stuff from the $70 version, plus you get the Season Pass, which is DLC, I think, and to play the game 3 days early. And for how much? $109.99. That's right, that means they're valuing the Season Pass and playing 3 days early at $40 value, since that's the difference between the base version and the Gold Edition. And if $110 sounds like too much for a Star Wars game made by Ubisoft, well, I've got great news for you because there's one more, even more expensive version on the table. That's right, the Ultimate Edition, which has everything the Gold Edition has, plus the Rogue Infiltrator bundle, the Sabak Shark bundle, both of which seem to be cosmetics, and the digital art book. That's right, digital. They're not going to print it out for you. That costs money. Sending the image files is much cheaper for them, so why would they print it out? And what do they value this edition at? $129.99. That's right, folks. Can you imagine that in 2024, we've got people paying $130 for a Ubisoft game? Neither can I, but unfortunately, I know those people exist. The real sinister thing, though, is that there's this one other option available, and it appears to be so much cheaper than the other options. That's right, you can get the Ultimate Edition, the same one that cost $130 plus over 100 other games for just $17.99 a month. That's right, they're pushing their subscription service, Ubisoft Plus, by giving you the $130 edition of the game for just $17.99 a month. I don't think that it's too much of a leap of logic to say that I believe they intentionally priced the two versions of the game that cost over $100 so high because they wanted to convince people to sign up for their subscription service. It's actually kind of genius in a very messed up kind of way. Dangle the carrot in front of people with all the cool cosmetics and then hit them with the stick by saying it'll cost $130, then offer them the exact same carrot for what seems like a fraction of the price. When you really think about the business model, it's great for Ubisoft. After all, once you're in their ecosystem, you can't leave or you lose access to all your games you're playing, which means that if you want to keep playing, or honestly if you just forget about the subscription like most people do, you'll end up paying $17.99 a month, which is roughly $216 a year. That's the same as buying 3 full cost $70 Ubisoft games every year. Ask yourself, when was the last time you bought more than one Ubisoft game in a year? Even then, when was the last time you paid full price for one? Since they're always on sale, I doubt very many of you would spend $216 on Ubisoft games in any normal year. Yet with the subscription service, Ubisoft gets that from you yearly, assuming they stick at the $17.99 price and don't up the price down the line, like all the streaming services seem to do. So, while that sounds like a good deal, unless you're a very specific type of gamer, it'll end up costing you more than you get from it, in my humble opinion at least. And it comes with the cool side effect of you not owning your games, so that if the subscription service ends or you can't afford it anymore, anymore. Well, there goes your games. Doesn't that sound great? And not at all bad for consumers? I think because people are focusing on the identity politics issues surrounding this game, they're completely missing that Ubisoft has created an admittedly great way to convince people to buy their game subscription service by just pricing them out of the other options. I mean, the average person doesn't have enough money saved up for an emergency, so $100 is a lot to them. But the average person also has no problem going to McDonald's once a month and spending $20 at the same time. It's a great psychological trick they're playing, and they probably need to promote whoever on their marketing team thought this up, but I think it's awful for gamers. When I was younger, every computer game came on CD-ROM. You guys might not remember them, but there were these little discs that came in boxes, and you put them in the disc tray in your PC, which, when was the last time you saw a computer with a disc reader? Not in years, which is weird because I'm not really sure when they went away. But if I wanted to, I could get an external disc reader for my computer, grab my copy of Zoo Tycoon 2 that I played a ton as a kid, and install it fine. Might need to mess around with virtual machines if it won't run on modern OSs. Not sure, but the point is that it still works. Meanwhile, we already live in a world where if your Steam account gets banned, you lose all your games. And that can happen even from you just forgetting your password. Or like, if you get a brain injury and you can't remember your password or your information, there's all sorts of ways that you can lose access to your game library now. I think we really had it figured out in the early 2000s. Unless you accidentally scratched the disc up, you had that baby forever. And even when you did scratch it, half the time, it'd work well enough for you to use it anyway. Do we really want to go to a world where we completely give up the pretense of owning any of our games? I'm sure there's some people who are fine with it, but it just seems wrong to me. I don't think that we should let companies siphon off our wallets forever just because we want to play a game once. I'm over the subscriptionization of software and games. Don't even get me started about how much an Adobe subscription costs a month, or how hard it is to cancel. But in reality, what matters is what you guys think. So tell me in the comments what you think about this slightly dystopian future we are sleepwalking into. Thanks for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and God bless you. So there's this trend in video games now, specifically in US made games, where the people at the studios have started to move away from using traditionally beautiful women as characters in the games, instead favoring more plain women in games, which has upset people for a number of reasons, but it's created this new culture where when a game comes out with a woman character that is traditionally beautiful, the game gets tons of backlash for furthering harmful gender stereotypes or promoting an unhealthy body image for women. Basically, it's another example of people with the San Francisco ideology coming together to attack something that was normal 5 years ago. This time, it's happening with a game called Stellar Blade, produced by a Korean games company called Shift Up. And let's just say the cancellation in America has made some Koreans pretty mad. Today, we're going to take a look at the situation and how Maxim Korea, yes, that Maxim, called out people for canceling the game's protagonist. So I guess to start, I should explain more about what Stellar Blade is and why it's so controversial. It's an action-adventure game that's going to be released on PlayStation in a couple of weeks, but already had a demo release. There was also some issue where they released the game early by accident, but that's not related to what we're talking about here today. Basically, in Stellar Blade, you play as a woman named Eve, who's fighting to reclaim Earth from enemies called the Netiba, which I assume are some kind of aliens. Sounds pretty run-of-the-mill, right? So why are they mad? Well, because they made Eve hot. I mean, like she's hot in a traditional way, not the new age body positivity way. She's a skinny woman with very eye-catching features. You know what I'm talking about. And she's dressed in a number of costumes in the different demos and trailers, but all of them are skin tight and just slightly provocative, but not to the point where it's too much. Basically, she looks like every woman in any video game made before 2016 when that weasel got into the particle accelerator and shifted us all to Crazy Town. So the usual suspects, games journalists, and other typically left-wing personalities have been attacking Eve and the game and saying that it promotes harmful body images and that women and girls can't look like Eve does. That having a woman like Eve in a game makes women feel like they have to live up to an impossible standard, since there's no woman on Earth that looks like Eve. One problem for them though, there actually is. Eve was modeled after a Korean model named Shin Jae-eun and has basically her exact proportions. So while it turns out that Eve isn't an impossible standard for women, it's an achievable physique, even if the people in their offices in San Francisco don't think it is. So it turns out that Eve isn't an impossible standard for women. It's an achievable physique, even if the people in their offices in San Francisco don't think it is. Now in America, you take some flack if you call out how stupid our culture has become when it comes to things like women's bodies in video games. But in Korea, they don't stand for that kind of thing, which led to Maxim Korea, which is, as far as I can tell, the Korean branch of the gentleman's magazine Maxim, calling out games journalists and other people who were upset about this on air, since Shin Jae-eun is a model that has done work for Maxim Korea in the past. Now the clip is in Korean, but there should be captions. Basically, the host calls out the lie that Eve's an unrealistic body type and says that it doesn't make sense at all to call someone's who exists body type unrealistic, ending by saying that this is just another issue related to political correctness these days and brushing it off as ridiculous. And honestly, it's nice to have a breath of fresh air. For a long long time, you couldn't call out the stupidity of these kinds of things going on. 2 years ago, you'd have been crucified for mentioning that maybe we don't have to make all women in video games less attractive for zero reason. You couldn't call out that some women do actually have these kinds of bodies. Our society has become so obsessed with not wanting people to have to look at something they aren't, that we forgot about the people that actually are. Now, I get why people criticize characters like Eve. They don't want people to feel bad about themselves, and no one should feel bad about themselves because of how a video game character looks. But by calling Eve unrealistic, are they not just making the model feel bad about herself? There's no real principle in their ideology. They basically just make it up as they go along with whatever sounds the best to them, as far as I can tell. So anyway, I hope we can move past this kind of petty squabbling over whether or not we should let women in video games be traditionally attractive or not. Not only is it a stupid argument, because some women do in fact look like a traditionally attractive character, but I also want to mention that having more attractive characters in games is really just a good business move. Sex sells. That doesn't mean anyone should attack people because they can't live up to characters in games. But is anyone even really doing that? I feel like if a character in a game makes you feel less valid as a person, the solution is to turn off the game and go hang out with family and friends. People who like you for who you are, not what you look like. And realize that it really doesn't matter that much at all. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on this situation. What do you guys think? Would you like to see more traditionally attractive women in games? Or are you on the anti-traditionally attractive gang? Why? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and God bless you. So, have you ever wondered what your favorite Twitch streamer makes? Well, it's a lot of money. Whether they're a gamer, a React streamer, an armchair socialist, or some combination of the three, if they've got a decent amount of viewers, they're making more money than some kings had in the past. Now, you might question if that's good. You might question if it's right for them to take donations from poor college students while they sit in their mansions. But there's not much you can do about it. Even the CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy, makes less than the top streamers. I'm not kidding. He admitted it in an interview recently. Today, we're going to talk about that. So yeah, Dan Clancy, the newish CEO of Twitch, has been a lot more open about Twitch as a business than his predecessor. He's already come out to publicly state that Twitch isn't profitable and has been fairly open with what their plans are to fix that. He's also very active in the Twitch community, which is weird because I don't remember the former Twitch CEO ever really appearing on live streams at all. Though admittedly I don't watch much Twitch, so he might have, and I could have missed it. So perhaps it shouldn't be too surprising that he was willing to do an interview with one of the top streamers on Twitch, MrBeast. Now, given MrBeast's controversial history, it's a little weird they chose to go forward with him, but I mean, you can't argue, he's one of the most recognizable Twitch streamers. So during this interview, the topic of money came up, and Dan was more than willing to admit that he makes less than MrBeast.
Like,
I'm not going to say, by the way, I'm not going to say whether, I'm not going to give the answer once you give yours, because then that gets into like what I make and all that. But my bet is that you make more money than me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's not surprising. Because, I mean, you came into Twitch basically and it's a massive debt problem. And
Amazon is not a company. I didn't come to, like, if I wanted to, like, there are tons of jobs I could have taken to make more money, right? That wasn't what was motivating me to come to Twitch. And I think Amazon is good like that. Like, sometimes in the tech space, I think the tech space has inflated salaries, and there are certain companies that just, like, you know.
So, even the CEO of Twitch makes less money than the top streamers, by his own admission. Granted, he says that he knew it when he took the job, that Amazon doesn't pay as much as other companies, and that he knew what he was getting into. I think, given how active he is on Twitch and with the community, that given he admits that he knew the pay wouldn't be as good as he could have found elsewhere, he took the job because either he's a really big Twitch fan, or he just wanted a job with a cool title that lets him do fun things. Honestly, I respect either of those reasons. But it's still insane to me that the CEO of the company makes less than the top streamers. Granted, the payment structure is a bit different for him than any normal Twitch streamer, since I don't think he's taking any sponsors. But it just kind of puts into perspective how much money the top Twitch streamers manage to make. I mean, take a sports team for instance. Do you think there's many instances where individual athletes make more than the guy who owns the team? Given the number of billionaire team owners and the much smaller list of billionaire athletes, I'd say no. It's actually this kind of thing that makes Twitch feel a bit icky to me. Not the small or even medium-sized streamers, but the big ones. When the big streamers are already super rich, have thousands upon thousands of paying subscribers, and they still ask people to send them donations, it just feels kinda icky. Granted, not all of them accept donations once they hit that level, but more than a few do. And it's just weird to me that people still feel okay having Jim Bob from Oklahoma, who lives paycheck to paycheck, send them a $10 donation to get their message read out on stream, when the streamer makes more off ad revenue and Twitch subscribers than Jim Bob's family will see on the inside of 3 generations. I don't know, maybe when you're making more than the CEO, you shouldn't allow that kind of thing to happen. Just food for thought. What do you guys think? Can you believe that the Twitch CEO makes less money than the top streamers? Or was it not surprising to you, given most of the top Twitch streamers could literally build pyramids out of their stacks of $100 bills and still have money left over? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Have a great day and God bless you. So, you guys know how Elon bought Twitter and is trying to turn it into this mega everything app. Well, one of the things that he did was make it so that people can earn money from ads played on their tweets, whether that's ads played in a video or like ads in your replies. Well, one person who's been taking advantage of that is MrBeast, and apparently it's going great for him. So how much does MrBeast make on Twitter? Well, MrBeast tweeted out the answer, so let's take a look. Firstly, I should mention that he has way less followers on Twitter than he does on YouTube. He's got 250 million subscribers on his main YouTube channel alone, and only 29 million followers on Twitter. So he's got like 8 times less of an audience on Twitter. But MrBeast has taken the chance to start posting some of his YouTube videos on Twitter after they've been posted on YouTube, and they're doing major numbers. MrBeast tweeted out this post saying, "Posting videos on X has been awesome so far," with a photo showing the 5 videos he'd uploaded to Twitter and how many views they'd each got. First, his $1 versus $100 million car video, which got 177 million views on Twitter. Then his train versus giant pit video, which got 123 million views, followed by his video about getting 100 dogs adopted, which got 150 million views. Then his video where he trapped people in giant cubes, which got 162 million views. And finally, his video about locking a man inside of a grocery store and seeing how long he could survive, which got 141 million views. Side note, MrBeast videos sound really dystopian when you don't have any context, but those numbers are nothing to scoff at. How much does that actually translate to in ad revenue from Twitter? I mean, I've been reliably informed by the mainstream media that no one wants to advertise on Twitter now, which I suppose can't be true because every time I go on there I see ads trying to sell me anime figurines, which is weird because I do not own any anime figurines. The closest I've got is a GamerSupps waifu cup, and I guess those anime figurine companies must be doing some big business, because in a follow-up tweet, MrBeast revealed that he's making around $1 million in revenue from Twitter. He said, "So far it's been around $1 million in ad revenue. I'm just adding it to my video budgets now, so I can spend more on content." Now, I don't know how much you thought MrBeast was making from Twitter, but I know you didn't think it would be $1 million after posting 5 videos. That's actually an insane number. Life-changing amounts of money for anyone who isn't MrBeast. What will be interesting is seeing if other content creators take from MrBeast's playbook and start posting videos over on Twitter as well to see if they can't earn a few extra bucks. I mean, it seems to be reaching an entirely different audience for MrBeast, since I can't imagine that there are too many people watching both on YouTube and Twitter. So potentially Twitter might be a decent way for creators to start earning some passive income. Just post on YouTube first, wait a couple days, and bring it to Twitter as well. That is, as long as you don't live in Brazil. That might be a little complicated soon. Now, I don't know if other creators will end up getting the same type of ad rates as MrBeast, and I can all but guarantee that MrBeast's view numbers are higher than any other YouTuber can aspire to on Twitter. But even if it's just $100 here and there, over the course of a couple of years, it's probably worth it for the 5 extra minutes it will take any creator to just upload the video to Twitter. So time will tell if other YouTubers will start to follow in MrBeast's footsteps. What do you think? Will other YouTubers start using Twitter to post their videos as well? Do you even use Twitter anymore? Were you slightly annoyed that I called it Twitter and not X throughout this video? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and God bless you. So, I usually try not to talk about Hasan Piker because he's a political streamer who has bad take after bad take, and in general, I just think I'm better off not walking into that minefield and instead keeping things lighthearted. But I recently saw a clip from Hasan's stream that I think points out really the reason I personally dislike him and people like him: activists, particularly left-wing activists. Since the right-wing ones have 9-to-5 jobs, these left-wing activists have been really loud in online spaces for a long time. Pretty much any bad take you run into on Twitter related to video games, YouTube, Twitch, etc. comes from someone who thinks of themselves as an activist for something or some political side. But the problem is, it's all fake. These people do it for political points online, so people agree with them and they can feel good about themselves. But they don't actually care. The clip I'm gonna show you exposes this pretty plainly for everyone to see. Hasan's doing an IRL livestream when one of his fans comes up to him to berate him for not following some obscure boycott related to the whole situation in Israel.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry, I forgot to say you need to stop drinking Coke Zero on stream.
Why?
It's boycott.
Wait, is it?
You're preaching pro-Palestine and you're drinking all this boycott stuff. Please, Hasan. At least pretend. Do it off stream. Please.
Okay, I'll put it in a glass. Is Pepsi okay?
No.
No soda, son.
I didn't know it was like that.
So this girl runs up to him like a Skyrim NPC and just launches into a tirade about how Hasan shouldn't drink Coke Zero on stream because of a boycott related to Israel. For context, Hasan's been pretty outspoken against the Israelis in the ongoing conflict. I know, what a surprise. Pretending to be well informed and that he cares about what's happening over there. I say pretending because if he really was that well informed or cared that deeply, he'd clearly know that there are large groups of left-wing activists who are boycotting Coke and other companies that, well, I think it's just that they do business in Israel. I don't know. These people tend to boycott anything at the drop of a hat, except their iPhones, which I'm fairly certain Apple manufactures some of their products in Israel. So weird they're not boycotting Apple. And don't get me started on where the cobalt in those phones comes from. But if I knew about the boycott, and I'm certainly no left-wing activist, I would think Hasan must know about it. Anyway, Hasan plays dumb. He pretends to know nothing about the ongoing boycott and acts like the girl is being weird, despite cultivating an audience of activists who will cancel him at a moment's notice. And when she realizes that he's not going to do what she's demanding he do and stop drinking Coke Zero on stream, she says, at least pretend.
At least pretend. Do it off stream. Please.
Okay, I'll put it in a glass.
And there it is on the big screen, folks. Activists don't care if you actually believe what they believe. They don't actually care about the causes that they're using to get attention on Twitter. All they care about is that you pretend to care. It's a social signal more than anything. If this girl actually believed what she was saying, she wouldn't have said, at least pretend. The funny part is that Hasan, who is a notable left-wing activist himself, doesn't even decide to go along with her and say he will even just pretend to care, which would be kind of based if it wasn't just one more data point pointing to how Hasan doesn't exactly practice what he preaches. I mean, in my opinion, if he did, well, I don't really think that the concept of a millionaire socialist makes much ideological sense, no matter how he deflects. What do you guys think? Do you feel the same way about activists? Do you think that most people just pretend to care about these things to win some social justice brownie points? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching all the way till the end. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and God bless you.